What made this guy? Was he born to this? What was it about him that allowed him to become the richest man in the world?
He would say focus, that he channeled all of his energy toward the one goal of making money. He's also, though, a collector. He started collecting coins, stamps, but what he really collects is cash. And this is a man who's built a $100 billion business that owns companies in dozens of different industries that employ 230,000 different people, and yet the Harvard Business School has never done a case study on Berkshire Hathaway. No one has ever really studied this company. You know, people think that Berkshire Hathaway is sort of a creature of his personality, but when I started working on the Snowball, I spent months in his office, and I spent months just wandering around the hallways and going through his files, and for the first time, I started to realize that it's a system. Now here's another point of departure from what almost anybody else would do. Everybody that I know or knew as an analyst would have created a model for this company and would have projected out its earnings and would have looked at its return on investment and da-da-da in the future. Warren didn't do that. In fact, in going through hundreds of his files, I've never seen anything that resembled a model. And then he took all the historical data, quarter by quarter, for every single plant. He got the similar information as best he could from every competitor they had, and he filled pages with little hint scratches of all this information, and he studied that information, and then he made a yes-no decision. And it's a very simple thing. There's nothing fancy about it, and I think that that's another important lesson, because he's a very simple guy. He doesn't do any kind of discounted cash flow models or anything like that. For decades, he just says, I want a 15% day one return on my investment, and I want it to grow from there. Ta-da! And the way he thought about it was really simple. It was a one-step decision. He looked at historical data, and then he had this generic return that he wants on everything. It was a very easy decision for him, and he relied totally on historical figures with no projections. I think that that's a really interesting way to look at it, because I saw him do it over and over in different investments.